Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Appreciate you jumping on. Do me a favor and hit that like and subscribe button and the notification bell as well. In this video today, we are going to have a terrific explanation of what Bitcoin is. It's terrific, so stick around for that. And we're also going to hear from Mr. Mann regarding BNY Mellon Bank and Bitcoin custody. But before we jump into that, let's take a look at the prices. Bitcoin sitting at 62,728, down slightly over the last 24 hours. Market cap of 1.24 trillion, hanging on there around 63,000. Good to see. Ethereum sitting at 2,572 with a 309.57 billion market cap. Tether still hanging in there in the States, in the USA. Regulation could impact this token by end of year. There is speculation of that, but that has a 119.18 billion market cap. Solana's down slightly to 143, and XRP is at 58, almost 59 cents, and has been steady there the last couple days. Let's jump into some news here. And first, brought to us by Smoke Dog, is a video here regarding XRP. Smoke Dog says XRP could be classified differently in the world of cryptocurrencies. Now, I believe this is a gentleman from the German Stock Exchange. I'm not positive, but you'll see subtitles in this video if you don't understand the language. But take a listen.
Alles so Dinge, wo ich hergehe und sage, da passiert etwas. Da scheint sich irgendetwas zusammenzubrauen, und auch die ersten Influencer, und das ist eigentlich immer ein gutes Zeichen, greifen mittlerweile XRP als Thema auf und sehen, Mensch, da könnte etwas passieren. Und dieses Anzucken hat sicherlich etwas damit zu tun, dass viele dieser Tage, wahrscheinlich noch im Juli, den finalen Richterspruch erwarten von Judge Torres hinsichtlich der Strafzahlung, und dann natürlich in Verbindung mit der Hoffnung, dass die SEC das ganze Urteil insgesamt nicht anfechten wird, sprich keinen Einspruch einlegen wird, wofür die Wahrscheinlichkeit doch gegeben ist. Und wenn das der Fall ist, dann glaube ich schon, dass das Anzucken nicht ein leichtes Anzucken ist, sondern, wie ich es immer wieder beschreibe, ein sehr großes Anzucken. Und dieser ganze Druck, der sich über all die Jahre aufgebaut hat, sich dann überproportional entladen kann. Aber Ripple ist in der ganzen Welt der Kryptos anders einzuordnen als der Rest.
Coins. Wenn Ihnen das Video gefallen hat, dann
So good stuff there from Smoke Dog. We will know shortly. It is September 22nd today, and I believe the SEC ruling has to be in by October 6th or 7th. So we are quickly approaching that date, folks. All right, moving on here to Black Swan Capitalist, and he says the Fed cuts rates, central banks will resort to aggressive quantitative easing, flooding the market with cheap money and inflation, making the rise of a new global currency inevitable. That's why you secure your wealth with gold and XRP. According to Black Swan, Vandell and his brother are big proponents of XRP. I believe this is Andy Schekman, who is in the precious metals business. And let's give a listen to Andy here on this short video.
He or she who has assets wins. And you look at much of the Southern Hemisphere, you look at the BRICS countries, they're loading up on assets, on gold, on silver, on base metals, on soft commodities, on anything tangible. They're breaking away from this system. Even our allies in Saudi Arabia mysteriously bought 260 metric tons of gold, I think the number was. He or she.
So essentially what he's saying is diversify your portfolios. Do your own research, obviously. Black Swan, Andy Schekman, they like gold, they like XRP, as do I. But make sure you are, having a number of things in your portfolio, and hopefully you come out on top. Let's take a listen to Cointelegraph here. This is the Bitcoin definition that I alluded to in the opening. This is terrific. It's a little lengthy, but well worth it. Stay in tune and listen to this. It says, Peter Van Valkenburg, Bitcoin is the world's first globally accessible public money. Bitcoin explained in 6 minutes at the hearing of the U.S. Committee on Banking. Take a listen to this. This is terrific.
Chairman Crapo, Ranking Member Brown, members of the committee. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today. My name is Peter Van Valkenburg, and I'm the Director of Research at Coin Center, an independent nonprofit focused on the public policy issues affecting cryptocurrency and public blockchain networks. What is Bitcoin? Bitcoin is the world's first cryptocurrency, and it works because of the world's first public blockchain network. What does Bitcoin do? It's simple. It lets you send and receive value to and from anyone in the world using nothing more than a computer and an internet connection. Now, why is it revolutionary? Because unlike every other tool for sending money over the internet, it works without the need to trust a middleman. The lack of any corporation in between means that Bitcoin is the world's first public digital payments infrastructure. And by public, I simply mean available to all and not owned by any single entity. Now, we have public infrastructure for information, for websites, for email. It's called the internet. But the only public payments infrastructure that we have is cash, as in paper money. And it only works in face-to-face transactions. Before Bitcoin, if you wanted to pay someone remotely over the phone or the internet, then you could not use public infrastructure. You would rely on a private bank to open their books and add a ledger entry that debits you and credits the person you're paying. And if you both don't use the same bank, well, then there'll be multiple banks and multiple ledger entries in between. With Bitcoin, the ledger is the public blockchain, and anyone can add an entry to that ledger, transferring their Bitcoins to someone else. And anyone, regardless of their nationality, race, religion, gender, sex, or creditworthiness, can for absolutely no cost create a Bitcoin address in order to receive payments digitally. Bitcoin is the world's first globally accessible public money. Is it perfect? No. Neither was email when it was invented in 1972. Bitcoin's not the best money on every margin. It's not yet accepted everywhere. It's not used often to quote prices, and it's not always a stable store of value. But it is working, and the mere fact that it works without trusted intermediaries is amazing. It's a computer science breakthrough, and it will be as significant for freedom, prosperity, and human flourishing as the birth of the internet. And Bitcoin is just the beginning. If we can replace private payments infrastructure, then we can replace other private choke points to human interaction as well. Now, why should we want to build more public infrastructure? Why should we embrace blockchains over corporate intermediaries? Why should we tolerate their inefficiencies and work to make them better? Why should we want the pioneers of this technology here in the United States and not fleeing overseas? A simple reason: because the corporate intermediaries providing today's critical but privately owned infrastructure are becoming fewer, larger, and more powerful, and their failures are increasingly grave. So roughly half of all Americans, 143 million people, had their Social Security numbers exposed to hackers because of a breach at Equifax. The SWIFT network has relayed hundreds of millions of dollars in fraudulent transactions because of hacked member banks in Bangladesh, Vietnam, Ecuador, and Russia. The FBI suspects now that the largest of these hacks was perpetrated by North Korea. Corrupt, low-level employees at an Indian bank, Punjab National, were able to fraudulently certify SWIFT messages, stealing $1.8 billion. It's the largest electronic bank robbery in history. In fact, it's the largest bank robbery in history. In October 2016, an estimated 1.2 million internet-connected devices were hacked and turned into a botnet that for several hours made prominent websites unavailable across Europe and North America, including CNN and Fox News, the New York Times, and the Wall Street Journal. Increasingly, physical machines are being connected to the internet to augment their capabilities. They're wired through servers that are owned and maintained by private and trusted intermediaries, the so-called Internet of Things. Pacemakers from St. Jude's Hospital have been hacked. Baby monitors from TrendNet have been hacked. And Jeeps from Jeep have been hacked to the point where they can be remotely commandeered and driven off the road. Now, those vulnerabilities are inescapable in systems that have single points of failure. It doesn't matter if the point of failure is a corporation or if it's a government. There shouldn't be a single point of failure. Similar choke points existed before the internet. If you wanted to deliver a message, you'd have to go through one of 3 television broadcasters or a handful of newspapers. Private corporations are essential, but no critical infrastructure should rely on 1 or 2. The internet removed single points of failure in communications infrastructure and ushered in a wave of competition among new media corporations building on top of its public rails. Blockchains can similarly disintermediate critical payments and IoT infrastructure. The technology is not yet ready to answer all of those questions today, but it is our best hope. And as with the internet in the 1990s, we need a light touch, pro-innovation policy to ensure that these innovations flourish in America for the benefit and security of all Americans.
So, the best definition and explanation of Bitcoin on the internet that I have heard. So, hope you enjoyed that. On to other news here. Digital asset investor says it's not a coincidence that they never mention XRP. At Chris Larson literally coined the phrase Internet of Value. And now blockchain is becoming more and more important, and more people are taking part in it. And it's, let's take a listen here. But you're not going to hear XRP on the mainstream news. They don't want you to know about it. Take a listen.
So what's the analogy of that to the next wave of the internet? Well, the next wave of the internet, the one that's upon us now, the one that is crypto, is an internet of value. And once again, it's about key protocols, but this time the protocols are BTC for Bitcoin and ETH for Ethereum and Solana and Cardano and USDC. Those are the protocols that are allowing value to be networked and accessed by ordinary people. And that's the significance of the Satoshi Nakamoto white paper. The first protocol, not too different than HTML, not too different than Bluetooth, to allow value to be put on digital networks. So what's the analogy?
The Internet of Value is coming to us, folks. It's all going to be tokenized and put on the blockchain. Let's get ready for it. Moving on to Mr. Mann, he says BNY Mellon custodies over $45 trillion in assets. That's double the U.S. GDP. Let's take a listen to, I believe this is the CEO of the bank. Take a listen here. They've been given permission now to custody Bitcoin and have been doing custody services and involved with crypto since 2022. But take a listen.
What we recognize that after all the conversations, based on a client demand, and that's very important, based on a support from the whole ecosystem here in the US and globally, we decided to make it a business. So we announced the digital asset business, which Caroline actually leads, and she used to lead custody for us, which is what Bank of New York is known for. I mean, we are the custodian for 45 trillion of assets. That's double US GDP, right? What we recognize.
$45 trillion, double the US GDP, and his bank is going to be essentially selling it to his customers. That's big for Bitcoin. That's big for crypto in general. Let me know what you think the price of Bitcoin is going to be by the end of 2024. Drop your thoughts in the comments, and I will see you on the flip side.